다른데 고스바분들이야 근데 뭐는 팅 순수순배 원저기 순수 체규 니 담들이야 근데 무슨 치규나베 네 갑질 무슨 넘버 2당 안 대신도게 언제라도 계획시네 대신도지 좀 받아 주마 안 정단의 배배 미마 용리야 나 도망에 양 청으로 돼 지구 남들이야
Today is the first day of the pre-Munam teachings before the 33rd Kaju Munam. And so I would like to extend my welcome and greetings to all of you who have actually come. The two Lords of Refuges, all of the lamas, chulkus, spiritual masters, all of the monks and nuns, and all of the members of the public who have come from all directions. So welcome. Now for this pre-Munam teaching, the topic is the mandala offerings from the Torch of True Meaning, the instructions on Mahamudra by the first Jamgon Kongtrul Lodro Rinpoche, Lodro Tai.
Tadi ngedun jemege de sunjue de ta lo kashi cheje de simbre enjeza ndari menjegi da kadudelia chensamrode menjeg kordelia leore.
We have been having these teachings on the Torch of True Meaning for a few years now, and so at this point we have come to the instructions on mandala offerings.
Da delaya jidangi jigi che chenyin jewe kablia da geshi shurubdi ane Shema Shengen Binia Sendi Sendi Tunyan Rabo, Jig Mahimba Ji Chima Kashada Takana Kashura Ji Sheta Tumbe Samba Dana Shengi Shenbeng Samba and the good land, but you share go out, chewing against in Binia, and the Mambuji Tarumun de Leche. You have Indusane, and just also dead levity, she turned me about chooses Madrid Tundalia, so in Binia, so and a Gulonda, same gate is Namgunda Midra, and this G, Sound Yarbu Dangshe.
When we are teaching or listening to the Dharma, what is most important is for the teacher, that the teacher not do this seeking anything for this life. Instead, he must be thinking, the teacher must be thinking about future lives, must have a thought that matches the Dharma, the motivation of benefiting others. It's in this way that the teacher should teach the Dharma. Now for you listeners as well, many of you have come from a great distance to come here. And you should make your your travels here so that they are not pointless, that they do not go to waste. It is important that you listen not with your ordinary motivation and your ordinary resolves, but that you instead listen with an even better and even kinder motivation.
That's the 지금 가르쳐요. 답은 최신계인데 나들인데 최신계 등 나라인배 계시를 주제 나라인배 주를 주제 드니 뉴스단다 최신계 원의 셰비미는 다시 단계 지 방도 위원데 지 기준 상승 위원데 된데다 개요 말데 임비냐 조디 다지 가져 최마 셰베 걸리야 다지 오늘은 수수 미지나로 니mer 지지기 미지나로래야지 라렌 따르투버지당 에너지 유화동도 버르지 딘디지기 용투야르지 아용 삼세 딘디지기 딱간다 군론르지 장체 수수이나다지 베 최시야다지 더 가르르다지 지 최사보 안지 지 시라지 라렌 따를 걸려 지당 년주 사보에 비치 라렌 따를 걸려야 에너지 라렌 다 모토버는 된데 많이 봐 나간다지 가제 이면에 라렌 토래야 제도버로 된지 요하기 에너지 배주를 체제 장수 최세에 걸랑하나 그런 데를 지키제 장수 최시기 아래 레인두산 디균셀 때네 강주직 최년에 중요한 비내야 다지 갈라한삼으로 딘지게 당에게다 삼바함 자와 딘지게 강주 시에 토네 갈라한삼으로 지 강주의 의미냐 진비지 유화동과를 지가 야나지 배주체과를 지 아주
So for our teachings, it seems that I am the teacher, and so in terms of being the Dharma teacher, I'm not someone who has the qualities of abandonment and realization, or the qualities of being learned, venerable, and wise. But when I teach the Dharma, I try to teach something that we can put into practice in our everyday lives, something that we can actually make a change. And so that is the motivation that I teach with. When we teach the Dharma, we could teach the profound, something profound, but that's difficult to put into practice. It's very profound when you listen to it, but we're not able to actually put it into practice in our daily lives. So I think it's important that that I try to teach Dharma that we can actually that we can actually connect with what we do and that we can actually put into practice. And so that is my motivation when I teach the Dharma. And so I hope that you listeners also, my intention and hope is that you listeners will also be able to do this. I think that it is important that you will be able to make some changes and put some effort into this.
다들 샴리아 엔게든 주메기 menjegi ko tidama gorma disman döna samtaso.
Next, I would like to recite a little bit of the text from the Torch of True Meaning on the mandala offerings.
Sumba chongi zoje menjegi tila. Menje rinpoche so gyu sang na chungya gyeme. Zashin dogu gyungye na gyacheo gu. Joba me na shinglip yamlip so dan tedang manjur na yiju kone yang cho. Zomi boche menjeni gwebe gyu sangwa da chewa de la jube menje da jishu chebe menje che chumbo reb sirngu so rinpoche ring tong da rinpo ta na Nendeso. Rutsangma, Chisangi, Lingi, Sheshin Baba, Tian Jorna, Sari Rishin Sarba Je, Majorna, Rusava Surdu Shabi, Kaso. Jenny children Rangalom, Gujovi Chevi Bugu.
Third, the instructions for mandala offerings which perfect the two accumulations. There is nothing wrong with a small mandala plate if it is made of a good, precious material. A mandala of poor materials, such as clay or wood, ought to be large. If you lack resources, it is permissible to use a board, a piece of slate, and so forth, or to visualize one if you cannot afford even that. The most important thing is the visualization. You will need 2 mandala plates. Use the one that is larger and of the better material as the mandala of accomplishment, and the other as the offering mandala. For the offering piles, precious substances such as gold, silver, and so forth are best. Conch and cowrie are the next best. The least is clean grain such as barley or rice, moistened and tinted with saffron water. If you can afford it, use new ones each time. If not, replenish the grains with fresh ones that you have set aside. The grains you offer should not be used for your own consumption later, but should be offered to the 3 jewels.
Da fondo kajue menje di soman di na suya de menje kajue da ji chijung enda ji menje gi gyusange da na singi di na la menje la phuya chumbu gwe ya ki yang ji zede de kanje ji go ye ba ding ji na ngai.
What this text describes is the mandala that we should use. First of all, the size that it should be, the materials it should be made of, and it also describes the materials that we should offer.
Mendes azu namju she de ne ta ngone mendes ya tunda khares ti jing azu ji shen go are ta de ne menje di gyubja gyu khan shi le chubachi gyubja de gande ji ma ti azu shen go are ta de ne di je le ya menje di gi yi menje di kha do kan ji ji ba ti ji shen go are ta di je le menje di gi chi jung gi che ya chi jung ti ji shen go are je za di shi bu di 안주지 면제무비 공리야 디시부딩 아주 고쳐버지다 하고 쳐.
Now, as I mentioned, we need to know what the mandala is. We talk about mandalas all the time, but what is a mandala really? What does it mean to say that it is mandalas? We need to know what materials they are made of. We need to know the shape. We need to know the color. We need to know the size of the mandala. So these are 4 different things that we need to understand about the physical mandala.
Menjesadi Gagere Pugere Sana Tamajin of you Mendes and Azukaduin and Ladi is a Mima which is something the Pugere something. That Menjesadi Gagagi Chadi or Talizar Gere, Lamadri or Takada Gagere.
Now, in Tibetan and Chinese, we say mandala. And so we think, actually, when we talk about mandalas, we think that mandala is a Tibetan word, but it's not. It's actually a Sanskrit word. The Tibetan translators translated in Tibetan as kyunkor, or the center and edges. Now, in some old texts, we see that in old texts, they have an old word they use in Tibetan that is dao. And I think that this is probably from the Chinese, because the Chinese word is tan, and then bringing that into Tibetan, it probably became dao. But this is something that needs to be investigated.
단도는 긴고를 쓰려고 윤생 가르스나 덩이나 유덩이나 놀래요. 다 측주하는데 측디 시험하지 다도 나도 길세하지 닝부 된다래서 닝부 되네 길세하지 닝부 된다 되네 이제 다 긴고를 쓰야도 저도 닝부 렘버 체베 다 가져요 긴고를 잡지 닝부 렘버 체베기 가져요 다 Now,
the reason why the translators in Tibetan called this Kyungkor, or the center and the edges, or the center and the surroundings, is described in the Hevajra Tantra in 2 books. I don't think it's necessary to say the actual citation, but it basically says that the word Kil, the first part, the center, means the essence. And so the meaning of a mandala is that we are extracting the essence.
Tati nyingbu sayadi karasana ta jigi sangana sunshabege nimege ishi nime gi ishi di ngazu de nyingbu tartu baru deshe lingyung nyingbu teche ta yibene nga tenjabi nyingbu tartu bati ngazu 내 당번에 렌트고 말아 렌바 제 톱을 제토고 말아 근데 인두산 람 림시 줍네 제 가르 람 림기 줍네 안 걸리 제제 가다 디야 톱을 제바 렌버 제바 데지 예 데리 인두산 디균zel 데네 다 면제디 조디 된저비가 딱 간다 님의 순주기 이시 타르투베게 다지 톱제로 데지야디 아주
So what is that essence? In the secret mantra it is said that the essence is the natural fundamental wisdom. That is what we need to gain, or what we need to extract. But we beginners cannot immediately extract that ultimate fundamental essence or wisdom. We need to gradually accomplish it through the path, and then eventually we will be able to achieve or be able to extract that ultimate essence. And so for that reason, a mandala is a method for us to be able to extract or achieve what we eventually need to achieve, the ultimate unified fundamental wisdom.
드리진 드시기하고 다디 조더 주베스도 가르스가 그랬으나 아주 멘제 피위급이야 멘제 오마티 피야 피규모 멘제 의실르디 드네 리시르르 단시아바디 멘제 오마티 피양 조르드 데레스 링시르르 단시아바디 제자 디길체 코르스르드산 다데르 리시르르 단시아바디 다지 지 가르에 두글롱제 섬런 대연롱제 지 체백이 뭐고 망부지기 배 삼기미게 파 주니 델레야다 간다 리시지 조 대체 아니 디 타고르도 지 가르에 지 체백롱제 삼기미게 파 주니 표기하래 제가 디 코르스로치 미균 뭐마디 조디 리시지를 제체 and Delhi and the Yonlong some give me a jibbe June, Yi June, and the Churugandi something, can't do something. Today, Pia Inza, Tigunzel Dene, Kingorsade, Zoda, Cheba G. Kajoy, Zoda, Jubek, Cabaractonia, Kingor de Shikungiores.
Now, there's another explanation of the term by the Indian master Sanghabhadra. And this explanation is when we say that the mandala means the center and the edges, the center means the primary, and the edges means the emanated. So the primary here means what we actually offer, and that is the 4 continents and Mount Meru. That is primarily what we are offering, and so that is what is referred to by the word center. And then the edges, or it refers to all of the sensory pleasures, all of the possessions, everything good that we then fill those 4 continents and Mount Meru with, so that we mentally emanate those. So those are the emanations. So in this way, the primary offering is the 4 continents in Mount Meru, and then all of the sensory pleasures and good things that we fill that with are the around the edges. Those are the emanated offerings, and so that is the meaning of the term. So the primary, in this way, the term the center and the edges means the center refers to the 4 lands in Mount Meru. The edges refer to the emanated offerings that we then fill the 4 continents in Mount Meru with. And so in this way, the meaning of the word mandala is drawing the distinction between the primary and the emanated offerings.
단도나 지 랑기 지 가르 톱제스는 단 랑기 데베기 미유 가리메데 아니 가주에 뇌스머를 지다 아니 학과를 지과 개좀 쉽차려야래 제가 디균제데 아주 톱제 가르했잖아 딱 간다라 사바다 야시웨게다 간다라 가주지 다 사바도 야차 말은 딱 간다 지 간다 상계 공파 리차디요래 제자다 상계 공파디 나라도 톱저 제네 제 톱에 된다래야 지 라마래야 면제기 쳐봐 양내 양도 퓨 대표할 때네 랑기 규기 다지 디바티스 सब도 사람들 디바테도 제한도 손에 아니 연대 지지도 손에 안 다른 디바탐지 용수세 연대 탐지 용수 줘봐 다 된지지 차르디 아주 미유세란다도 톱치세란다도 디데이버를 제가 디세버지가 다 계속 잡아요.
For us to understand that when we offer a mandala, what is the essence that we need to extract? What is it that we ultimately need to achieve? What is our aim? What is it that our aim? So we need to identify and understand this. So what is it that we are trying to achieve? We are trying to achieve the state of Buddhahood, the vast and profound Buddhahood. And so we take Buddhahood as what we try to achieve, and then as the method to achieve that, then we make offerings, repeatedly make offerings of mandalas to the gurus. By doing this, the obscurations in our beings become thinner and thinner, and less and less, and we are able to increase our qualities. And so by decreasing our obscurations, we will eventually achieve the aim, or what we are trying to achieve. And so this is what we need to clearly understand.
다시함이야 수제 퍼센트도 샤이 아니 주제 고드샤가 봐 수제 퍼센트 샤이 지단교 오마지 수균기 주최 시에 거래야 주주 숨시스데 시 가지고 주주 숨시 시간들 시하고 맞는데 퍼센트 주주 직스들 퍼센트 샤드네 어마네 다 이내 지 가르에 얌 맞아 주주 망고들이 계제 시에두산에 데지 가르에 취생견에 갈래도 취년견에 갈래요래 이제 양 취년견의 망고지 갈래갈래지 니고주래 제자 디균선대네 안 추주 직스만도 쉬시가 말해 추주 지시에 대해 니 공주니의 지도 삼성 렌두자 다 같이 걸리지도 최 마시에는 가면로 되는 주사네 다디 안다 추주 고드셔가 받을이야 다시
Now, next we will have a tea break until 9:30 a.m. Now, traditionally, the teachers would teach the Dharma for 3 or 4 or 5 hours without any break. They just didn't take any breaks. But these days, it seems that teaching, a lot of sessions like that gets very difficult for the teacher, and it gets difficult for the listeners. And sometimes it seems like many of the listeners start to fall asleep. Even now, when we only have an hour-long teaching, already some people are falling asleep. So maybe at this point it's better not to teach for too long. So we will now have the tea break until 9:30.